Hello, guys. How you doing out there today? It's been a minute since I've been on here. I had moved and had to get some things together and get situated into my new place. But I'm here and I'm back. I'm hardly ever on here a lot of times because I'm busy doing other things. But I am back today, and I was sitting here. Actually, that's the reason why I'm here is because I am busy doing other things at times, and I want to kind of tell you a little something about what I want to talk about today. And what I want to talk about is how do you keep going? How do you stay obedient when things seem like they're not working out? And I'm gonna say this: when I was 23, in my early 20s, really, I had fell on some hard times. I was in a deep, dark place, very dark, and it was just horrible. Nothing, nobody around. It was just a horrible place. And I was in a pit. This pit was me and me alone, me and God. And in that pit, I started writing because that was the only thing that made me feel better was reading my Bible and writing. And it was then that God met me in that pit and he started talking to me about my life, about everything that I was going through and everything that I had been through. And the different ways that he wanted to better my life. But I'm still in this pit, so I still want to, I really want out. Because when you're in a pit, you don't want to be talked to, you want to be out. But God didn't take me out of that pit right away. He said, you know what? I got you here for a purpose, for a reason. I put myself in the pit, but God said, I got you here for a reason. And so since you here, let's talk about some things. And so he began to work on me spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Um, and then I started writing. I love to write. And so I had my notebook. I said, as long as I had my Bible in my notebook, I'd be okay. So I had my Bible, I had a notebook, and I like to write and create stories. So in a sense, I was creating a story about my life and how I wanted to get out of this thing. And so I wrote a stage play. And at that time, I really didn't know if it was going to be a stage play, but I kind of did. And so I wrote this book, and it's called Metamorphosis, Good Girl Gone Bad. But that wasn't the name of it back then. Back then, the name of it was Tears in a Bottle. And so I wrote it, and I enjoyed that, and I just went ahead and got that going. Got that writing going. So I wrote that, and I carried that with me, and then God started giving me other teachings. So I was, listening to. I was writing a lot of stuff, and what I was writing was what God was telling me during prayer. And so I was so excited, because I can see a new outlook on life, and that was my release. That writing was. So I did that, and I kind of lost that, as years went on, and I got my life together, and God did he rescued me as he promised me he would. And so everything started falling into place, and I grew up, and I got my children, and I raised my kids, and I did everything, and I got them grown and gone and out the house. And so, but during that time, I still was thinking about that play that I wrote, that story that I wrote. And one day, and I mean, I must have been in my mid 30s. I could hear the Lord say, go ahead and write that, rewrite it, because I knew the story because I lived it. I knew everything about it. I had lived it. So he was like, go ahead and rewrite it. And I said, okay. So I rewrote it. Now, during this time, he had prompted me to write another book called Closer Than Enemies. And I wrote that book as well. And Lord, it was my first book. Oh my God, I was so excited. I did not know what to do. I didn't have no good book cover or nothing. I just wrote it and independently published that book. And then I was so excited, turning cartwheels and stuff. And I was telling anybody and everybody, hey, I wrote a book. I wrote a book. Oh my God, yes, that was my dream at that time. So the book didn't sell. A lot of people liked it. They love reading it. It sold a few copies, friends, family, people like that. But for the most part, people wanted it for free because they felt like they knew me. And so I got on social media with it and everything. Then I updated the covers and did all that with it, and it didn't go anywhere where I thought it was gonna go. Then I wrote the Metamorphosis Good Girl Gone Bad. I changed the name because it was a girl had went from this situation to another situation. So she was in the struggle of the cocoon, and then she, you know, ended up being a butterfly, meaning flying. That was kind of like the metaphor for the book. So it's Metamorphosis, Good Girl Gone Bad. I wrote that, and then I wrote a stage play. So after that, I wrote another book. And I just, this is my third book. And I was so excited. I'd be on social media, all my family. I got a big family. So I'm on social media, I'm writing, and I'm like, ooh, boom, there's my third book. Surely this is going to take off. So then I was prompted to write another book. Then I wrote a series because this was a passion in me just to write this series about this cop. And so I wrote my series and I loved it. So I bought, there's 5 books in the series that I made, that I wrote. Then I wrote children's books. So for teens, because things that I went through as a teen, I kind of wanted to, give, encouraging words to the kids. So I wrote it in fun stories. And then one of the books is called Frozen Dreams. It's about a young black girl with sickle cell battling it and how she does that because my sister has sickle cell. So I'm just constantly creating books, creating books. Then I went through a breakup and I end up writing. God was, he was teaching me about my life, about the breakup, and he was, and so during that time, and I had been journaling a lot, and after I got that book, I wrote that book. Then I did some journals for that book, and I did everything. So I've created this large library, and each time I would create these books, I would post them on social media. I have a social media fan page. I have friends and fan. Oh my God, I had thousands of friends. No books. They didn't sell. And so I'm now at the point where I am at 22 books. And I've noticed that every time I publish a book and I post it on social media, I don't even get a like. I just released 2 books. I wrote a cookbook for singles. I released that cookbook, not one like, just maybe one out of all these hundreds of friends. My fan page, it didn't even get one like. And I have been writing for years. And so God was here. I want you to write this book. I want you to write about this. I want you to write about that. And for the last, since 2009, I've been writing and creating books and publishing them and paying. I was on my job and I was taking the money from my job and paying for all the book covers and paying for everything that came along with it. God blessed me since then, showed me how to do a lot of things a little bit more economical now. But I was spending a lot of my money getting these books published and paying models and doing everything, just putting everything I had into these books because I believed in them. I had this passion for this because God told me to do it. And whatever God told me to do, I wanted to do it. And even though it didn't make money, even though it didn't do anything, I wanted to do it because my father told me to do it. And I did something that I've never done before in my life, and that's create a full library of works. And they're good books. Even if now when people take the time to read, they're, oh, okay, this is a good book. But nobody seemed to want to care about that. And it's like, how is my own family not even buying the books? Why is this not happening? You don't know why. Out of all the family, you just, if you got 500 family members, just say 100. That's enough. You know what I'm saying? To make you a little something. But nobody seemed to believe in me, but I believed in me. And so what I'm saying today is don't give up, because sometimes, some days you can get this feeling like, well, you know what? You gave me all this gift, but what good is it? It's not making money. Nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to be watching. But he keeps putting this thing inside of you saying, listen, just do it. And he encourages me, and he lets me know, just do it. It doesn't matter who's looking, who's watching, it doesn't matter. Just be obedient, stay obedient. And I was reminded of the story of Peter when Jesus wanted to use the boat, and they had been fishing and constantly doing it. And so, Jesus said, hey, go ahead, and they didn't catch anything. And Jesus was like, just let your nets down. He said, listen, we done toiled all night and we haven't caught anything. So, he said, but you know what? Because you said so, we're going to let down the nets. And so they let down the nets and they got a big haul. They hauled in a lot of fish. So keep going. You never know when the day that it's going to come to fruition. But just keep going. Don't let that discourage you in the face of things not seeming to happen for you. Like I said, it used to upset me because I'm like, I thought you guys loved me. It seemed like nobody was proud of me. Nobody cared. And it wasn't that I was looking for that, but it would have been nice. I'm not gonna lie. It would have been nice to say, oh, have that support. But I know that if people never support me, God did. And He will, He always will, He always has. And see, and that's because He showed me who He was when I was in the pit. He was in the pit with me and He pulled me out that dry place. And so once He pulled me out of there, and then I could have been dead. You guys don't know what I was into that I could have been dead a long time ago. But He allowed me to live and to bring forth all these wonderful, beautiful books. And like I said, I have 22 books, and some of them, the genres range from everything. They're fun, they're dramatic, some of them are just nice action-packed books. Even the teen books, they're great. And I'm not just saying that because I wrote them. They are good books. But like I said, I kept going and I'm continuing to go. And so I published one last month and I looked no likes and I was like, oh, it could be disheartening, it could be discouraging sometimes, but keep going because you got to know what God told you in your mind. So no matter if you don't get a like, no matter what, keep on going. And so I was looking at the other version of the Bible was about Esau. And I was sitting there thinking, what I'm saying, God, you put all this in me, and it seemed like nobody cares. And sometimes you be tempted because your mind can go back and forth. And so, and I can hear Him saying, don't be like Esau and sell your birthright. Don't sell your gift. Don't cheapen it. Don't just because people don't care. Because He felt like, well, it ain't making no money now. I mean, I could say, well, I'm not. Well, what good? You know what good it is. If it wasn't good, God wouldn't have put it in you. So don't be like, oh, what good is this gift? I've created all this stuff and nobody cares. And nobody care about what they care about because they are not your source. God is your source. So if they don't care, if they don't hit the like button, they see it. They see it. That's why they push it because they're scared that you're gonna go past them. They see everything you're doing. They can tell you everything you've done from day one. You can even just be talking to them in a conversation and they can let something slip. Let them know you saw it. I've talked to people and they say, oh yeah, I got it in my cart. Do you know how many times people have told me I saw your book, I got it in my cart. What good is it in the cart? You don't want it because we get what we want and it ain't gonna sit in the cart. And I was selling my books for $10 back in the day, and God was like, because I'm thinking, well, people might, trying to consider other people. I'm not gonna consider that. I'm gonna consider the price of what it is. And then God told me to stop giving my books away because I would just give it away. And I was, oh well, if they read it, they're gonna tell somebody. They're gonna help some, the child. You give them a free book, they won't even post it on Facebook. They won't say, oh look, none of that. These are people that's supposed to care about you, right? And so, like I said, it does not matter. Keep going. Keep going with your music. Keep going with your writing. Keep going with your YouTube channels. Keep going with every single thing God put in you. I don't have that many followers here. I don't have that many followers on this page or that page. I don't care. Somebody gonna hear this message. And that one somebody might be the somebody that was about to give up. So I'm gonna be obedient no matter what I see. Okay, and that's what I've been doing. So like I said, I have over 22 books. As you know, I am not trying to promote anything I've done. I'm just trying to let you know, don't sell your birthright. Don't give up. Keep it. Hold on to it. It's extremely valuable. You may not need it today, but it's so valuable that it's going to flourish tomorrow. Okay? So I just want to encourage you guys to keep going, even though it seems like nothing is working. It seems like nothing is happening. Baby, you keep on going. Okay? That's what I want to tell you today, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be back soon with another message. All right. Talk to you later. Bye bye.